game.
Shot.
Right. Everything.
I didn't know something about
All right, today we are properties that we looked at yesterday, throwing some algebra in, okay, solving problems with those properties. So just real quick to review, okay, the three basic ideas that we talked about were vertical angles. Okay, what is the relationship between vertical angles? So we said they're right across from each other, right? When we have intersecting lines. So they're congruent. Yeah. So what that means when we're actually solving problems here, vertical angles are going to be equal to each other, right? So that's the key when we're going to be setting up equations here. The other one, or another one, we said linear pair. What was the relationship when we had a linear pair? They're adjacent angles that together make up a straight line, right? And then what do they add up to? What do the angles that make up a linear pair add to?
180.
180, right? Okay, that's going to be a key. And then, okay, we also, so this was our best example of supplementary, right? So we could say add to 180, and in other words, that means supplementary. You're right, yeah, you're right. Two angles are supplementary, so that would make up a linear pair. And then really the other one we talked about, so it's two angles that together make up a straight line. So supplementary can be any two angles that add to 180. They don't have to be right next to each other. So a linear pair is just kind of a specific example of supplementary angles. Right? And then the other one we talked about was complementary. Spelled right? What are complementary angles? Add to 90. Okay, so what we're going to look at today, okay, is figuring out from a diagram which of these three things to do. Do I set these equal? Do I add them together and set them equal to 180? Or do I add them together and set them equal to 90? Right? So let's take a look at this side here. There is one new notational idea on this side, and it's this little symbol right here. Okay? This looks like an upside down capital T. Right? This symbol means perpendicular. Okay? This symbol means perpendicular. So if I know that two lines are perpendicular to each other, what else does that tell me? What does that tell me about the angles? The angles would have to be 90, right? They would all be right angles. So if I know that two lines are perpendicular, that tells me their angles will be 90-degree angles. So if we look at this first example, okay, it says we want to set up some equation and find x so that dz and zp are perpendicular. Okay, well, if they're perpendicular, that means this is a 90-degree angle. That means these two angles would be complementary. So how would I set up an equation here involving those expressions? Okay?
It would be 9x plus 5 plus 3x plus 1 equals what? Would it be equals 90 or?
Yep, perfect. Okay, so we're adding these two angles together and saying their sum will be 90. Okay, so go ahead and solve that real quick for me.
No, you subtract 6 from 90 is 84.
Now you want to say what? Extra?
We thought that was a 7.
Oh, what was a 7?
Oh, the 7, it looks like a 9. The 9x looks like a 7x.
Oh, yeah, that's a 9.
You got Lindsay over here. About flying through that.
Alright, so for this, okay, when we solve this for x, we should get 7. Is 7 my final answer? Why not?
I just said no because you
What would I still have to do? What should my final answer be?
X.
Oh, wait.
still have to do something.
Oh, F.
7 to 9 times. Well, 9x.
So what does the question tell me to do?
Find x so that you need ZP.
It's just
Find x.
find x, right?
That's what it's-
Yeah, so 7 is the final answer here. Okay, there's nothing else I have to do for this one. Right? So we just need to make sure we're reading the problem and answering what it's asking us to do. So 7 is the answer. Right? Questions on that? Okay, so in this case, we had to set them equal to 90. We add those two angles together and set them equal to 90. So let's jump down and look at some of these exercises here.
Let's do the first one together.
Let's do the first one together.
There we go.
All right, so on this one here, okay, we're looking at this diagram, and I want to find x and y. Okay, so we're going to start looking at diagrams that have multiple variables in them. When I'm setting up equations, I can only use one variable in an equation, right? I can't set up an equation that's got x's and y's in it. So I just need to deal with one variable at a time. Do we want to look at the x's or the y's first? X's, all right. So both of these angles right here have x's in them. How would I set up an equation here that involves both of these expressions? JT? Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. So JT just added these two together. Right? He said 5x plus x will equal 90, right? This would be a 90-degree angle here. So 5x plus x equals 90. Right? Go ahead and solve that. This one should be pretty quick. This will be a right angle here. Alright, so then how about the y's? What do I need to do for the y's? Same thing, yeah, this is also going to be a 90-degree angle. Okay? So in this case, I'm just setting that one expression, 9y plus 18 equal to 90. So subtract 18. 9y equals 72. Divide by 9, and y would be 8. Are those my final answers?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? It just says find the value of x and y. We did that. Right? X is 15, y is 8. What about the measure of angle MSN? How would I get that from this diagram? So where is MSN? Yeah. Right? That's just a right angle. So it's 90. We okay with that so far? Alright.
All I wanted to figure out was what
For this one, yeah. Yeah. Alright, so why don't you guys try number 3?
Why is that?
that has a lot of variables.
I don't know. I don't think it looks any more complicated.
That's because you're really smart.
Exactly. You know how the ant. Good night. Like Saturday.
All right, let's take a look at some of these here. Okay, it looks like most of you have at least done 3 and 4, if not 5. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these. I did 3 up here already. Okay, I did number 3 up here already. So what we were given is that angle EBF is 3x plus 10. Angle DBE is x, and then we're also told that BD is perpendicular to BF. So that tells me that this is a right angle. So my setup is going to be this angle plus this angle equals 90. Then we solve that, and we should get x equals 20, and that is my final answer. And it just says find the value of x. For the next one, okay, we're given 2 different angles. So on this one, I'm given angle CBF. So CBF is this little angle right here, and that's 3y minus 7. And then FBA. So FBA is this whole angle right here. And that one's going to be 7y minus 3. So these 2 angles, okay, this is my second situation. This is a linear pair, right? Together, they make up this straight line. So my setup is going to be to add them together and set them equal to 180. So 7y minus 3 plus 3y minus 7 equals 180. Combine my like terms, be it 10y minus 10 equals 180. Add 10, and then divide by 10. We get y equals 19. And again, that is my final answer. Right? It just said find the value of y. Did we get number 5 done? No?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a minute, okay, and finish up 5 if we didn't get 5 done, and then we'll come back and do that one together. Oh, that's just a degree symbol. So 3x degrees.
I found a new way to make party mode without shaking it. If you like don't hit it, like how you check your battery percentage, it keeps happening. Yeah. It's whack. I kept doing it for 10 minutes last night. I was so amused by it.
What was your story about? What was your story about last night?
My dad, he was crying because I'm leaving for vacation. Made me feel bad.
Wow.
Is that made out of rocks?
What?
Yeah, it's in rocks. Put together. I think it's old. Looks like the cover's
You
painted.
can't even solve that, bro.
Figured out.
You
I
can't.
can't even solve it. Solve it. You don't have to.
I can get it inside. You know how I do that? You take it, yeah.
You have to turn back to square. Then you have to rotate the pieces.
Yeah.
Have you solved it before?
Alex, is that harder than the fucking? You have the sign one with like 1,000 sides.
The 12 by that one is so hard. I have like a new one
I know, that's what I'm saying. Is that one harder
This is one of the harder ones.
What about that?
Your generation isn't a fan
Can't you solve it? Yeah. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I watched you solve it in 20 seconds.
All right, for number 5 here. For number 5, these two angles should add to 90, right? So my setup, 3x plus x plus 2 equals 90. Combine my like terms on the left, 11x plus 2 equals 90. Subtract the 2 over, divide by 11, and we get x equals 8. In this problem, though, we did have to go one step further because it said find the value of x, but also the measure of angle PQS and the measure of angle SQR. So once we got 8 for x, we needed to plug it back in and get that this angle is 24 degrees and this angle is 66. Okay, so make sure we read the directions and answer what the question is asking us to do. Any questions?
No, sir.
All right, I want to do one more example, okay, because we've done examples of these last two things, okay, of add to 180 and add to 90, but there aren't any examples of vertical angles on here. So, on your paper, okay, you can draw an extra diagram somewhere. All right, and let's say Alright, so in this diagram, okay, I'm given these two angles right here. I'm given this angle is 4x plus 2, and this angle is 2x plus 8. How would I set up an equation here to solve for x?
What did you add?
So, what, I guess first of all,
Wait, what are you trying to find?
x.
What's yours combined?
So, these are vertical angles, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about vertical angles yesterday being right across from each other. All right, guys, we're up here. All right, this is an important example here. Vertical angles are right across from each other, and the relationship between vertical angles is that they are always equal to each other. Okay. So my setup for something like this would be 4x plus 2 equals 2x plus 8. Okay? Vertical angles are equal to each other. Okay? So to solve, we would just subtract 2x, get the x's on one side, and then get the numbers on the other. Divide by 2. We would get x equals 3. Okay?
So 2 times 3 plus 8.
Alright, so if I give you something like this, x minus 7 and x plus 3. How would we set up and solve that?
3x minus 7 equals x plus 2.
Right, we're setting those equal to each other. Right?
Sorry, sir.
Alright, so the three possibilities, either the angles are equal if they're vertical angles, they add to 180 if they're a linear pair, or they add to 90 if they make up a right angle. Okay? Your homework is these 5 problems right here. Page 51, numbers 19 to 23.